What's wrong with a bit of unfiltered conversation? And the word and I mean, they're on the front page of the Australian, so they've been legitimised. So let's get right into it. Poo bum.
Are you done,
Let's get right into it.
Are you finished?
Yeah, next question.
That guy there.
Hello, I'm Paul Barry. Welcome to Media Watch. And that was the real Mark Latham winning friends at the Melbourne Writers' Festival on Saturday, roughly a week after he spat the dummy and quit as a columnist for the Australian Financial Review. And there was plenty more where that came from.
This is how I talk in the western suburbs of Sydney, in the pub with my mates at sporting events, and if you don't like it, you can f*** off. Okay?
Some booed, some heckled, some walked out, but most stayed to watch the car crash unfold. And host Jonathan Green, whom Latham branded a wanker, sneering and a deviant, was not the only one to be struck. When comedy star Max Gillis, who's married to Latham's publisher, piped up from the audience that he admired Latham's columns but disliked the abuse, he was told,
"Well, there's one easy answer, Max. Piss off. Leave. Go. Go. It's a democracy. You're not arrow-lighted to the seat, are you? Get your lard ass off the seat and go."
Latham also laid into people who weren't there, including the author of this front-page story about his resignation in The Australian, which contained all those F and C words and had helped get him so riled. It was crazy stuff. But it was really just a pumped-up, foul-mouthed version of what got him into trouble at the Financial Review, with his personal attacks on women in public life, like in this column last November.
Why left feminists don't like kids.
Claiming that inner-city feminists were bad mothers, Latham took aim at a fellow Fairfax columnist, who is now suing him for defamation for allegedly implying she does not love her children.
The inner Sydney writer Lisa Pryor said the only way in which she can cope with raising 2 small children while studying medicine full-time is through caffeine and antidepressants. Why do people like this have children in the first place?
Latham also got into fights on Twitter in what appeared to be a parody account, but was exposed by BuzzFeed as the real thing. At Real Mark Latham hoed into Australian of the Year Rosie Batty, ridiculed female journalists who have nannies, and tweeted unsavoury comments about transgender military officer Kate McGregor.
When you were wearing a nappy asking to suckle middle-aged women, you looked like a he-she. Or was that a different person?
Asked why he engaged in these nasty personal attacks, Latham replied on Saturday with a broadside against political correctness.
The problem is that criticism is depicted by the left feminist clique as immediately derogatory comment. And then the author of the comment is depicted as misogynist. Okay, which is the thing that Rosie Batty said about me. Now, I'm such a big misogynist, I decided, upon getting out of politics, I'd stay at home and look after the children, supporting my wife's legal career. I'm such a misogynist that I raised my daughter as the home parent. She's now 8, and she's gorgeous. That's me. Described by the Australian of the Year as a woman hater.
There's no doubt it was his attacks on women and the blowback from Westpac and others that led Latham to give up his column in The Fin. As he told Media Watch,
who wants to write in an environment where banks, other corporations, cashed-up litigants and fleabag websites are constantly trying to control my opinions and the paper's treatment of them?
But on Saturday he was busy painting himself as the victim of an elitist assault.
The defamation action, the petition to get me kicked off the paper, the reader boycotts, the third-party interference. Now, it's not a comfortable environment in which to write, but I tell you what, it taught me. Proudly from a Western Sydney background, I won't be interrupted by you. Proudly from a Western Sydney background, that class is still alive in Australian politics.
In Latham's view, his resignation from the Financial Review was a defeat for freedom of speech. But maybe his skin was just too thin. Because he was not sacked as a columnist, and the Fin's editor-in-chief Michael Stutchbury claims he applied no pressure on Latham to go. And as Jonathan Green suggested, perhaps Mark had himself to blame.
Isn't the tragedy of your publishing and of your column and of your attempt to raise these issues as serious social concerns, and they are, that you've lost the argument by personalising, that you've lost the argument by...
The tragedy is
let me finish what
that they've been presented as lies, that what I've written has been presented in
but that sort of response format demands a response. Engage in the conversation.
Yeah, what with lies? Now, are you going to defend...
You've taken your bat and gone home. You've pulled the pin.
I have not.
You've quit.
I've got many more opportunities than you've got, pal, to voice my opinions, and I'll do so in the future.
Yes, like the Terminator, Latham will be back, or so he says, firing with both barrels and free to shoot his mouth off at anyone he likes.
The good news for the people of Liverpool, Campbelltown, Blacktown, Penrith, I will be charging back into battle. Today is just a prelude, a warm-up, you know. This is just sparring with old Johnny here, and I'll be getting back into battle full on to propagate my opinions.
We can't wait to see where he pops up next. And despite all his bile and anger, we hope he does. And we hope he's okay. His columns could be sharp, different, and sometimes hilarious, just like those one-liners. Remember his conga line of suckholes to describe the Howard government? Or his once-in-a-century egomaniac description of Kevin Rudd? So, who might be brave enough to take him on? A column in the telly? A shock jock on 2GB? He'd certainly fit in better there than he did at the Fin. And it's worth noting that Andrew Bolt, Miranda Devine, Jeff Kennett and Rowan Dean have all come out in the News Corp tabloids to support him. But perhaps, as he says, it'll be somewhere we can get the real Mark Latham unfiltered. But now to sport of a different kind and a game where billions of dollars are on the line.
More hits, more matches, all of it live, every second free, 4 nights a week. Oh! Welcome to Rugby League Rebooted. The lounge room will never be the same.
It is the biggest deal in Australian free-to-air history.
That was Channel 9 News trumpeting the network's near $1 billion outlay on TV rights to Rugby League and presenting it as fabulous news for sports lovers who will soon be seeing more footy than ever before.
Under the new $925 million deal, from 2018, Nine will broadcast games on Thursday, Friday, Saturday and Sunday.
It's a massive victory for the people that can't afford subscription television. They're going to sit at home Thursday night, Friday night, Saturday night, Sunday afternoon live, and it's a very big victory for free-to-air audiences around Australia.
Next day, the Sydney Morning Herald, which is friends with Nine, was pumping up the victory.
Rupert Murdoch once hijacked rugby league. Now he could end up with nothing.
But the triumph was short-lived because the AFL soon hit back with a deal of its own, worth more than twice the money.
AFL has kicked the NRL out of the park with its $2.5 billion TV rights deal.
Yes, as readers were told in no uncertain terms, News Corp, Seven and Telstra had signed the richest sports deal in Australian history. And even bigger than that, Rupert Murdoch was switching codes and wiping out all those memories of his costly love affair with Super League.
We've always believed that this is the premium code in Australia. It's the national game, and we're putting our money where we believed, but we're also committing all our platforms to support the AFL everywhere, in every state.
And sure enough, as Rupert sounded the advance, the Daily Telegraph, which has been a passionate champion of rugby league, led the charge against the NRL.
Smith has egg on his face.
$2.5 billion free kick. The day AFL soared over its bitter rival.
Huge push into home of league.
Our game triumphs.
And that was only the beginning.
Switched off. TV week. Dave faces bad reception.
But whichever footy code comes out on top, both will now be getting around 70% more than they do from their current deals. And between 1,700 and 2,000 times what the NRL got paid per game some 40 years ago. So, can they afford it? Probably not. Free-to-air viewing figures this year are down by around 10%. And Seven's just reported a massive loss of $1.9 billion. But sport is still doing well for the networks, with Rugby League bringing the 3 most-watched programmes in Australia last year, and AFL supplying the 5th. And they can't afford not to be in the game, as is shown by the plight of Channel 10, which went into free fall after losing the AFL rights in April 2011. So, having splashed out all this money, can 7 and 9 get it back? Again, probably not, as Citibank's chief media analyst Justin Diddams told MediaWatch.
The challenge for the NRL is that they have a male-skewed audience with limited extra demand for advertisers for that segment, so the capacity to inject additional advertising to cover 4 games is going to be difficult.
The AFL could be a better buy because it has more female viewers and a broader demographic. And as Seven's Tim Warner says, it has better ad slots because of the constant stops and starts in the game.
I regard the 30 seconds after a goal in AFL as the most valuable screen real estate on Australian television.
But both networks are taking a huge risk. As Colin Smith, who helped put together the previous NRL deal, told MediaWatch,
if the economy has a major downturn, and there's certainly a probability of that, they've got this fixed cost locked in for 6 years. And if there's a major downturn, there will be a significant profit drop.
So, while all the participants are busy telling us these record deals are great for everyone, it's not clear that they are. In the opinion of Justin Diddams,
the only real beneficiaries from this are players who are going to demand higher wages. It's unclear how fans benefit from this because we're not going to see ticket prices come down, and the hidden costs of TV, both pay and free-to-air, are going up.
So, the wash-up is more sport, more ads, more pressure on the networks, and billion-dollar bills that someone will have to pay. And finally tonight, to a great fan of League, 2GB's Ray Hadley, who's not at all happy with MediaWatch and has perhaps been channeling a bit of Mark Latham.
Just maybe MediaWatch will be inclined to apologise. However, given the host of this 15-minute program has his head stuck so far up his own backside he doesn't require medical attention for a rectal examination, I don't think it'll be forthcoming.
Yes, that was Ray at his sophisticated best. And just in case you didn't get the exact location of my head, Ray kindly supplied this exclusive picture on the programme's Facebook page. Although I'm not sure that egg on my face is what I would be worrying about. And just in case you missed his first 2 shots, Ray fired another round in his column in Friday's Telegraph.
As I have said previously, the unctuous host of the 15 Minutes of Misery has his head stuck so far up his own backside he doesn't require medical assistance for a rectal examination. Classy, eh?
So, what made Ray so angry? Well, it was the touch-up we gave him and commercial TV news over the Goulburn Jail escape tunnel, which turned out to be a cavity the size of this box. Now, 2 weeks after we poked fun at the story, the man who dug the hole escaped, proving, says Ray, that we were wrong and he was right. Well, there clearly was an escape plot in the making. But how did he get out?
Around lunchtime in the secure exercise yard, he made his move in a plot straight from the movies.
He had a range of bed sheets that he tied together and was able to swing them over the wall.
A pillow strapped to his waist helped him ease over the razor wire and to freedom.
So, not through that tunnel or small hole after all. He used a sheet, which looks like this. But Ray, you were right about one thing. We're not going to apologise. Sorry. And you can read more about all tonight's stories on our Facebook page or our website, where you can get a transcript and download the programme. You can also catch up with us on iView and contact me or MediaWatch on Twitter. But for now, until next week, that's all from us. Goodbye.